Good morning, everyone. This is Dan O'Sullivan with your Bucks Island Area Fishing Report for Saturday, June the 28th. It is hot, hot, hot. And we're going to talk to the guys about how we might be able to put a few fish in the boat. While we're out there, we're going to talk to Tom, Lee, Gentry, and Tracy and find out what's going on in your neighborhood. Hey, we got Gentry Gordy joining us right now. He's actually doing a little bit of work today, but he's been out there fishing some on Lake Martin and Jordan Lake. Gentry, what's the latest? You pick your poison. Where you want to start?
Dano, we'll start at Jordan this time. The mayflies were out last time I was up there. It could be short lived. I've seen it drag on for a few weeks, so just be looking for them. We found them pretty much on the main lake. When you got back into the pockets, you didn't see them as much for some reason. But start up the river a little bit, the overhanging trees and the river grass. That's where, the bluegill, by all means, if that's what you're after, they're everywhere. But the bass, you didn't see them run up and like really chase the bluegill, but they were hanging around them. Throwing a jig and a swim jig in that river grass, especially, if you can get bluegill popping mayflies around river grass, the bass are there.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah. And
sir.
then you could go with a popper. You could go with a popping frog.
Yeah,
Even
pick
maybe
your
a
poison.
Cinco around that stuff. Yep.
Yeah, pick your poison. Absolutely. They hit a swim jig, hit a popper, or if it got a little tough, you just hold that Cinco right in front of that grass. They'll eat it.
Nah, get yourself a little Tato bluegill glide. That one of those things would be good too.
Yeah, I thought about that. I didn't have one, but I thought, man, I wish I had a bluegill glide bait that's have to eat it.
All right, let's go to Lake Martin. What's going on there? Assuming the brush piles are going to be big, the docks are still going to be there, and I bet you night fishing's good too.
Yeah, night fishing really, Dano. I didn't get a chance to go this past week, but I've looked at the last two night tournaments they had up there. It's taking close to 17 pounds to win. So definitely the night bite's going to be the strongest. This time, and we talk about it. Summertime at Martin, it gets tough, but
Yeah.
nighttime, like I said, the dock lights and the green lights is definitely where it's at. But during the day, if you go get out early, still catching some good ones on the seawalls with top water and stuff like that. The spotted bass are just everywhere, just not huge. Starting to see some guys like, really concentrate on the bait offshore, scoping, and you find some better spots doing that because you'll see the bait balls down there. They're just not as, they're not everywhere, but you find the bait balls, you'll find the bigger spots.
Yeah, and the times that I've been to Martin, it's made me feel like back home in California, Shasta Lake, Oroville, some of those kinds of things. Those fish will go deeper, that clear water, those bait will go deeper, they'll be deeper. I guarantee you there's fish down in 40, 50, 60 feet of water that are catchable.
Oh yeah, and the last time I was there, I was looking at some fish on live. I was probably in 30 foot, throwing into 20, and I threw a brown jig out there and saw a spot chase it 10 foot all the way to he was sitting at about 10 foot, but he followed my jig all the way to the bottom and ate it. So they're out there, they'll eat.
Brother, we appreciate everything. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll talk to you soon. Hey, we're going to check in with Tom Ott and get ourselves a glowing report on Lake Guntersville. Tom, what's going on? We know you're traveling. You're in your nation's capital, our nation's capital, as you say. What's happening at Guntersville?
Well, right now I wish I was there, but man, it's hot. The fish are on fire. I do think we were kind of like with all this heat we've had the last 2 weeks or the last week. It's really started to push those fish out of that shallow area. We've been just having a ball up there with chatterbaits, poppars, things like that you can really work in that 8 foot of water, that kind of deal. But things have really changed a little bit with some of this heat. It's driving the bait out, it's driving the fish out. The brim have started moving deeper, all of that. We've had a massive, massive mayfly hatch. So, that's kept some of the fish a little bit shallower, at least on your deeper, steeper banks. But, a lot of those fish have started that migration out to the ledges. And that's where it's going to get a little bit more interesting. I don't know how much they have really set up. I'll know more about that this week. But, it's just ever changing. It's not been bad. It's just been a change. So these fish have just started to move out to those little bit deeper, hard spot areas where there's bait, there's ample bait, a lot of crawdads being eaten. I mean, it's just it's summertime fishing, but we kind of went from a springtime pattern to dog days of summer kind of pattern real quick. And
Yeah,
so
it
it's
kind
going
of
to
hit
just
us
change up
real
your
quick, didn't it?
yeah, absolutely. It's going to change up your patterns a little bit. I've changed baits on about every rod I've owned, and just kind of got ready to get out there on the ledges a little bit more. And I really think things like a big mop jig, a big a football jig, those kind of things, dragging around, drop shots, things like that are really going to take shape this weekend. And that's going to be the story, I think, for a good while. That frog bite was really hot. The chatterbait bite's been hot. All of that's kind of just waning out. Not to say you can't catch some big fish shallow, but I just think it's going to get a little bit tougher on you. It's summertime fishing at Guntersville, so drink a lot of water and try to go early nighttime fishing. Haven't been on the first night trip yet, but that's coming, guys.
Oh, of course, that nighttime bite's coming, I guarantee, and there'll be some grass edges fish. Tom, brother, as always, we appreciate everything, and we will talk to you again next week, my friend. Safe travels. Hey, we got Tracy Robinson joining us right here. We're going to talk a little bit of fishing on Logan, Martin, and Lay Lake. Tracy, you pick where you want to start.
Logan, I guess, would be just as good as any. Dog days of summer, I'm sure that's what all fish reports are full of right now. It's super hot out there. My suggestion, before we even talk about baits or location, is do it in the morning early or do it late in the evening. At midday, it gets brutal there. But if you're going to be
Just
out
say,
there midday, lots of water, stay hydrated. But first thing in the morning, a lot of topwater activities happening. We're catching a lot of spotted bass on Logan right now in the mornings. Seawalls, rocks, bank, wherever you like to fish there, they head to the bank, they eat overnight. And, speaking of night, if you want to get some really good action right now, the spinnerbait bite's really picked up at night there at Logan right now. The banks taper pretty quick. You can go down some of the banks and taper pretty quick with a nighttime spinnerbait, single blade Colorado, and really catch a lot of good quality spotted bass right now at night. If you want to avoid that daytime heat. But once the sun pops out there, you kind of get out there a little bit deeper. Carolina rig, deep crankbaits, you can still catch some of those spots. The largemouth are kind of staying in the shaded areas up under the docks. Jig, plastics up under the docks is probably your best bet right now with those largemouth. But that's kind of the things that are working at Logan for me right now.
I know shaky heads and drop shots are going to be really productive, especially on some of those offshore spots right now, all over the Coosa River. What are we doing when we turn to Lay Lake? What's going on there?
Lay Lake, super clear right now is one thing that I really noticed this past week. The grass bite's still going on down there, especially in the mornings. The punching bites really picked up. Those fish are finding the grass has got some type of canopy on it where it's kind of matted out on top and turned into a canopy. You can punch, 3/4 ounce, 1 ounce weights, plastics into some of that thicker stuff and catch some really good largemouth. The summertime patterns, the timber's still really good right now, and it'll be that way for another 6-8 weeks. Fishing the standing timber on lay, with your swim baits. I even saw one guy; he was throwing a spoon into those standing timbers and catching some of those fish. So, anyway, just summertime patterns, and then the early grass bite or the punching bite is the key at lay right now.
Is that a flutter spoon or is he vertically jigging?
Yeah, he was vertically jigging in the trees down there with a heavier spoon.
Huh.
I've not tried that, but it got my interest.
Well, I tell you what, if that's a pattern that you want to try, the best thing to do is to put heavy mono, like 20 pound, to a swivel, and then put like a 15 pound leader on there with your spoon on the bottom. It'll keep the line twist out and give you all the control you need. Tracy,
Gotcha.
brother, we appreciate everything. We will talk to you again next week, my friend. Hey, we got our boy Lee Pitts joining us here. We're going to talk a little bit of fishing on Neely, Henry, and Weiss Lake. Lee, what's going on at Neely Henry this week?
Well, I'll give you one good hint and one good piece of advice. If you're going to go and fish this weekend, get out there early, not just for the heat, but there's going to be a whole lot of people out there playing with those big old wake boats and big pontoon boats. And let you get the fishing in early and let them have it the rest of the day.
There you go. Then go back
It's
out at
looking
night.
pretty good. Yeah, it's you know, and it's looking good right now. Like I said, the water looks good. Of course, it's hot. You're gonna have to pack that cooler and really, really stay hydrated out there. But the fishing is pretty good. A lot of these fish are moving out a little bit deeper right now. The top water bite is a quick type deal. You know, it's something that you need to hit it early, get out there daylight, and as the heat gets up and it starts getting a little hotter, you can tell it. They kind of go away from that top water bite. Still fish in these shady areas. You know, the dock bite is real good. I know a lot of guys have been kind of downsizing a little bit from flipping that big jig, which you can still get bit doing that, but Texas rig worms, speed crawl, little small creature baits, you know, little D bomb, something like that, is been pretty good.
And that bluegill bite in the shallows is pretty good too. Crickets and mealworms and stuff like that has been going on too.
It has. You can tell with the where the mayflies, some of the overhanging limbs, and some of these places that have had good mayfly hatches on. That's what I would concentrate on when you're trying to target the bluegill.
All right, let's go to Weiss. What's going on there?
Pretty much the same. It's the water's been, you know, they hadn't fluctuated the water a whole lot this week. It's been constant, so the fish have really got around some of this wood cover. The grass bite has been okay early, and when you can find the thicker grass, they'll stay in it a little bit longer. But one of the things that I think everybody's trying to look for now is some of these off the river channel, your patches of stumps, your harder bottoms, things that may have a little bit of rock in them or some rough bottoms is holding some of these spotted bass. Largemouth are still hanging in there tight on that wood cover. The dock bite here also has been real good. You got to cover a lot of docks to weed through some fish, but the you know, getting out there off the river and even some of these secondary little pockets and things like that coming into these bays where the fish have got a little bit of depth and they can feel that current a little more. That's what you're trying to key on here at Weiss right now.
Brother, we appreciate everything as always, and we'll talk to you again next week, my friend. Well, that'll wrap up our Bucks Island area fishing report for Saturday, June the 28th. Hey, don't forget, everybody, we are here to help you stay on the water, get on the water, whatever it is you're looking for, whether it's tackle upstairs, whether it's parts to keep you going, service to help, or you may not be able to do it yourself. And of course, if you're looking for that new pontoon boat or fishing boat or bass boat, we got what you're looking for. Come see Katie and Melissa and Patrick, and we can help you out, put you on the water, keep you on the water. You are the best part of Bucks Island. We appreciate you. Thank you, and we'll talk to you next week.
Sweet.